the government has insisted to teach very young children about the importance of respect and tolerance for people who are different. This includes respect for Muslims, but also for LGBT people and their choices. They have started this with storybooks where the child has two mothers or two fathers. What advice do you have for Muslims who have children in such schools? First of all, definitely Sharif is referring to a non-Muslim country. And again, the global trend is to enforce homosexuality upon people from a very early age worldwide. And the tendency is to force people to accept this. So there's no freedom of speech. There is no freedom of religion. They accuse Muslim countries of not allowing the freedom of religion, the freedom of expression. And if you go to their country, if the imam in Europe or in somewhere close goes on a Friday and says that sodomy is a major sin in Islam, in Judaism, and in Christianity. It is condemned in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, and in the Quran. And that this is an illness. This is something that has to be cured. They would probably arrest him, or at least ban him from giving khutbah. Why? They say that this is hate speech. I didn't ask anyone to hate anyone. This is Islam. This is Quran. They don't want this. They want you, again, to dilute your religion, to be in this big melting pot where you let go your Islamic identity, where you let go your beliefs. Forget about Islam. Forget about the Quran. Forget about the Sunnah. You are here in this country, you have to be a kafir like us. Allah said, وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. And the Jews and the Christians will not be pleased with you, will not be satisfied with you until you follow their religion or you follow their way. This is in the Quran. And this is what we see on the ground at the moment. So they force our children to learn this filth about a boy having two fathers. Who gave birth to that boy? None of them. So how can he have two fathers? Well, this is LGBT, XYWZ. How can he have two mothers? Is he Jesus? Where is the father? Where is the male intervention? Nothing. And they tell you to respect. I have no problem with respect. We respect all people. We have empathy towards thieves, about sinners, fornicators. We feel sorry for them for the sin. Yet, we hate the sin and not the sinful, and not the sinner. So yes, we do not accept sins. We do not embrace them. 50 years ago in the UK, it was a crime to be homosexual, to be gay. It was a crime, and you could not even mention this. Sheikh Ahmed Didat mentioned that in a novel in Johannesburg and Cape Town and Durban in South Africa, it was banned to have this Lady Chatterley's lover because of a word that it was inappropriate. Nowadays, it is not only legal, but they force people to do it. And they force the Muslim children to learn about it. and they condemn anyone talking about it as hate speech. And this is totally unacceptable. Whose mistake is it? It's yours and mine. Why? Because we tolerated this type of lack of identity, lack of stance and position for so many years. Now we're paying the price. Had the Muslims stood up together, went to the lawyers, used all legal means to fight this and say, no, we have our culture, we have our religion. It's not a difference of opinion among Muslims that homosexuality is halal or haram. Any Muslim, quote me, quote me, any Muslim who advocates, who says that homosexuality is permissible or okay, or it's a personal preference, he is not a Muslim. He has nullified his religion. He's not a Muslim anymore. He's out of the fold of Islam. Therefore, because we, in the very beginning, were so absent-minded, we did not participate, we did not take a stand. Now we're paying the price. But what to do? Sharif says, we have a problem. The problem is that you have to take your children out of school. Do homeschooling. Refuse totally for this. You know that in Europe, there are now forcing the children, your children and mine, girls and boys, to have mixed physical education classes, which means that your daughter who's 15, 16 has to go to the swimming pool with a 15, 16-year-old boy. Who in his right mind would allow this? This is your religion. This is your honor. And people, just because of the buck, just because of the good salary, they're getting the government allowance and the financial support they are getting, they keep their mouth shut, but they'll pay the price in a few years' time, unfortunately. So you have to take a decision now. Take your children out of school, give them homeschooling, or get the Muslim millionaires and billionaires there to make private segregated Islamic schools. And if this is not possible, then migrate, leave the country. And in some countries, by the way, they are preventing the families from sending their children to madrasas outside of the country. In some countries in Europe, if your child is 12 years old and you want to send your child to a school in a different country, they take their passport because they want to ensure they're brainwashed. They don't want them to go and learn their religion elsewhere. And this is a fact. So, Akhi, it's an issue of survival. It's an issue of protecting your identity. And this is the global trend. Strip Muslims from their identity. You go to countries where they put Muslims in the millions in concentration camps. They come in Ramadan to them, forcing them not to fast, taking off the hijab of women's heads, shaving the beards of men, forcing them not to pray. Where is the United Nations? Where are the Muslims? They are in deep sleep, hibernating, unfortunately, or by own self being absent from what's happening or turning a blind eye. So you have to make a decision, Akhi.